So going on to question number two, as a radio jock who has been the co-host in many major markets across the US, what are some of the common mistakes you see other radio personalities make who are in the industry and those who are trying to get into the industry?
Okay, trying to get into the industry, especially in radio, there is no formula. There
Mm,
is no perfect path, and there is no really there. It's not a traditional type of path to success. Whereas, like, if you want to be a doctor, you have to go to university. You have to go get a
mhm,
PhD in something. It radio is not that way. You don't necessarily have to go to broadcast school.
mhm.
You can, and if you do, you'll learn a lot. You'll get a lot of really, really good experience in there, and you'll spend some money as well. But you'll have some experience that no one can take away from you. But radio is kind of like a get in where you fit in type of field, and I see a lot of people. A big mistake I see a lot of aspiring radio hosts make is that they think just because they've done X, Y, and Z that they are going to get a job, or I don't want to say entitled, but that they probably should get a job. And that's not the case, because it, it's a little bit of luck. It's a little bit of lightning in the bottle. It's a little bit of creating a situation for yourself.
Mhm.
And I don't want to sound wishy-washy, but you kind of have to create your own path into radio. What gives you a better shot is experience. And now someone's asking, how do I get experience? It could be going to radio school, to broadcast school, or it could be starting your own podcast or starting your own show. It could be just getting coffee for a radio host in town where you live, getting some kind of internship, whether it be formal through a university or informal, where you're just, you kind of like end up being their little roadie, and helping them out. And you kind of learn through osmosis, where you're just around them all the time, and you start understanding their swag and how they do things and how
Right.
the business works.
Right.
You have to create a situation. You 100% have to create a situation. What that situation is, I can't necessarily tell you. You got to kind of dig into what is going on around you in the business and create situations after that. But I think one of the biggest mistakes, to answer your question, is that you're thinking that there is a path, and because you've done it this way, you're definitely going to get a job. Another thing is not being willing to move.
I was just going to ask you about that.
Yeah, I mean,
Small market. Like I was going to ask you, so would you say like the small market? Because you also hear like people both in television and
yeah,
radio,
yeah,
they get sent out to Siberia, and I'm using Siberia as like
right,
small
sure.
town, middle of nowhere, to get that experience, to get that exposure, and build up their resume.
It's so just an example for me is, like, I grew up in New York City, in the
Mhm.
most competitive, largest market almost on earth, or in North America at least, what I'm
Right.
saying? So if you want to get a job at one of the 3 different radio stations that actually make sense for you in that big and climate where people all over the world
Mhm.
are coming to get jobs, like, you do the odds, you're probably not going to get the job.
Mhm.
Probably. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but you probably, by probability, will not get a job there.
Right.
So you've got to kind of cast a wider net and be open to going to other cities, just to give you a couple more opportunities for employment. I've seen people who are sitting in certain cities, and they think just because they're from town that they deserve a job. They think because I'm from the city and I've been here for like 10, 15 years, I am city X. I am this city. I no, that's not the case, because these are high stakes jobs. These are positions. These radio shows bill millions of dollars in ad
Mhm.
revenue. The people pulling the strings, or the people in charge of those ad dollars, are not taking a chance on somebody who I mean, they're doing real calculations about, I'm going to pay this person X amount of dollars.
Mhm.
They have a track record in these different markets, and their numbers and ratings have looked about an average of this. If I pay them this, how much am I going to get back in
Mhm.
revenue? Like,
Mhm.
it's math, it's mathematics. So it's not, I mean, sometimes they take chances, but not often.
Mhm.
So you got to figure out a way to show your value, and it might not be in your home city.